Over 2 billion pounds of bacon are eaten in the US every year. That's nearly 6 million pounds a day. But behind that smoky, crispy obsession is a tradition that's older than America itself. Why do so many people love bacon, and what happens before it ends up on your plate? Let's take a closer look. Bacon has been making mornings better for centuries, and people have been hooked on it just as long. The love for crispy, salty pork strips goes way back to ancient China, around 1500 BC, when folks started curing pork belly with salt. It was a game changer because, really, who wouldn't want meat that lasts longer and tastes amazing? The Romans later jumped on the trend with their own version, called pedazo, which sounds fancy, but was basically an early bacon snack. They ate it on the go, kind of like ancient fast food, just without the drive-thru. And considering this was a time when people watched gladiators battle for fun, you know bacon had to be worth it. By the Middle Ages, bacon was so popular in England that bringing home the bacon wasn't just a saying, it was real life. Some towns even had contests where men could win a whole side of bacon if they proved they hadn't argued with their wives for a year. Imagine staying calm for 12 months just for some pork. That's commitment. And if you think people take bacon seriously today, back then it was practically a status symbol. Families would hang it in their homes to show they could afford it. Kind of like the medieval version of showing off on social media. Rich or poor, everyone was cooking it up, proving that when it comes to crispy, salty goodness, nobody cares about class differences. These days, bacon isn't just for breakfast, it's everywhere. It's in burgers, donuts, and even toothpaste. Yes, that's real. And no, I wouldn't recommend it unless you want to smell like a diner all day. There's bacon-scented soap, bacon-flavored vodka, and even bacon-themed weddings for the truly obsessed. If any food shows true dedication, it's this one. People have wrapped Thanksgiving turkeys in it, dipped it in chocolate, and even used it to make art, because who needs paint when you have pork fat? Whether you like it crispy, chewy, or just as an air freshener for your car, one thing's for sure. Bacon isn't just food, it's a lifestyle. And honestly, what a tasty life it is. But enough history, let's take a look inside the factory. Bacon's journey starts long before it hits the factory, on pig farms, where certain breeds are raised for pork. The most common ones are Yorkshire, Duroc, and Landrace, because they grow the right mix of meat and fat for bacon. Farmers keep a close eye on the pig's genetics to make sure they produce top-quality pork bellies, since the fat-to-meat ratio is key to bacon's taste and texture. The breeding process is carefully managed so the pigs stay healthy and grow at the right pace to meet demand. What pigs eat plays a big role in how their meat turns out. Most farms feed them a balanced mix of corn, soybeans, and added vitamins to keep their growth steady and their fat marbling just right. That marbling is what gives bacon its perfect balance of crispy and chewy. Some farms tweak the diet by adding barley or other grains to make the pork even more flavorful, while others focus on organic, free-range methods for higher-end bacon. Some farmers even say their feeding choices give bacon a richer, more unique taste. Pigs are usually raised for about 5 to 6 months until they reach 250 to 280 pounds. Then they're sent to processing facilities. Farmers and vets keep a close eye on their health to make sure they stay disease-free. Stress is also a big concern because it can make the meat tough or pale. So farms try to keep the pigs as comfortable as possible, avoiding sudden changes or rough handling. When pigs reach the right weight, they're taken to USDA-approved processing plants in special trucks designed to keep them as calm as possible. Stress during transport can affect the meat, making it pale and mushy. So careful planning is key. To avoid overcrowding or overheating, farms make sure the pigs have enough space and a smooth ride. Once they arrive, they rest in holding pens for a bit to recover from the trip and stay relaxed. Slaughtering is done quickly and humanely using one of 3 methods: electric stunning, CO2 gas, or a captive bolt. These methods make sure the pig is unconscious right away, so it doesn't feel pain. Large factories often use CO2 since it keeps stress levels low, which helps with meat quality. After stunning, the pigs are bled by cutting the major neck veins. This step is important to keep the meat fresh and prevent spoilage. Next, the carcasses go into a hot water bath, 140–150 degrees Fahrenheit, to loosen the hair. Machines then scrape most of it off, followed by a final singeing and cleaning to leave the skin completely smooth. After cleaning, the carcasses go through evisceration, where the internal organs are removed and checked for any signs of disease. USDA inspectors look closely to make sure everything meets health and safety standards, rejecting any that don't. The carcasses are then chilled in large refrigerators set below 40 degrees Fahrenheit to firm up the meat for easier cutting. This step is also important for slowing bacteria growth and keeping the meat fresh before it moves on to processing. After chilling, the carcasses go to the butchering area, where skilled meat cutters break them down into main sections, like the loin, shoulder, and ham. Bacon comes from the pork belly, a thick, fatty cut found on the underside of the pig. The belly is valued for its fat and marbling, which give bacon its perfect balance of crispy and chewy when cooked. The pork belly is trimmed to the right shape, with any extra skin removed. How much fat stays on depends on the brand. Some keep more for extra flavor, while others trim it for a leaner cut. The belly is also checked to make sure it has an even thickness and fat distribution, since uneven cuts could mess up the curing and smoking process. After trimming, the bellies are stacked and prepped for curing, the step that gives bacon its signature taste. Some premium brands use special pork from heritage breeds or pigs with unique diets to create richer flavors. Curing is what turns plain pork into bacon, preserving it while adding the delicious taste we all love. Curing is a key step that gives bacon its flavor, keeps it fresh, and stops bacteria from growing. Without it, bacon would just be salty pork that spoils faster and lacks its distinct taste. The process uses a mix of salt, sugar, and curing agents, usually sodium nitrite, which gives bacon its pink color and helps prevent harmful bacteria. Without nitrites, bacon would go bad quickly and turn gray instead of its well-known reddish-pink hue. There are two main ways to cure bacon: wet curing and dry curing. Wet curing, also called injection curing, is the most common for large-scale production. It involves injecting the pork belly with a liquid mix of water, salt, sugar, nitrites, and sometimes extra flavors like maple syrup or black pepper. This method is fast, taking only a few hours or days, making it ideal for mass production. Dry curing, on the other hand, is a slower, more traditional method where a thick mix of salt, sugar, and curing agents is rubbed directly onto the meat. This process takes 5 to 14 days and results in a deeper, richer flavor. Because it's more time-consuming, dry-cured bacon is often more expensive and valued for its high-quality taste and texture. After curing, the pork bellies rest so they can fully absorb the flavors. The salt and sugar pull out moisture, which helps preserve the meat and makes the taste richer. Some high-end bacon makers use natural ingredients or special salts like sea salt or Himalayan pink salt to create unique flavors. Once curing is done, the meat moves on to smoking, the step that gives bacon its signature smoky smell and deep, savory taste. After curing, the pork bellies are smoked to give them their smoky smell, rich flavor, and golden brown color. While curing preserves the meat, smoking adds extra depth and makes bacon taste even better. In the past, smoking helped meat last longer before refrigeration, but today, it's mostly done for flavor. It also removes excess moisture, making the bacon firmer so it crisps up nicely when cooked. Without smoking, bacon would be much softer and less flavorful. Before smoking, the pork bellies are rinsed to remove excess salt from curing. They are then placed on racks or conveyor belts inside industrial smokehouses, where temperatures stay between 120 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This slow process lets the smoke soak into the meat without overcooking it. Smoking times vary. Some bacon smokes for a few hours, while others go for up to 24 hours for a stronger, richer flavor. The longer the smoking, the deeper and more intense the taste. The type of wood used for smoking affects bacon's flavor. Hickory is the most popular, giving it a bold, slightly sweet smokiness. Applewood and cherrywood create a milder, fruitier taste, while mesquite adds a strong, earthy smokiness. Some mass-produced bacon skips real wood smoking and uses liquid smoke, a fast and cheap alternative that lacks the same depth of flavor. Once the pork bellies absorb the smoky taste, they are quickly chilled to about 28 degrees Fahrenheit to firm up before slicing. After smoking, the bacon is quickly chilled to firm up the fat and make slicing easier. The pork bellies are placed in a cooling chamber just above freezing, 28 to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, for several hours. This step is important because warm bacon is harder to slice evenly, and soft fat can smear. High-speed industrial slicers cut thousands of slices per minute, but for them to work properly, the bacon needs to have a consistent texture and temperature. Without proper chilling, the slices could turn out uneven, affecting the look and quality of the final product. Once the bacon is properly chilled, it moves to the slicing stage, where it's cut into different thicknesses based on demand. Standard cut is the thin, quick cooking type, found in most grocery stores. Thick cut is about 50% thicker, giving it a meatier texture. Center cut comes from the leanest part of the belly, with less fat. Slab bacon is left uncut, allowing restaurants and butchers to slice it as needed. Each type works best for different cooking styles, whether you want crispy breakfast strips or bacon for slow-cooked dishes. High-speed rotary blades cut the bacon into precise slices. Some brands arrange them in neat, overlapping rows, while others stack them for easy separation. Any pieces that don't look perfect, like irregular cuts or broken slices, are turned into bacon bits for salads, soups, and fast food. After slicing, the bacon is weighed and portioned to ensure each package is consistent before moving to the final packaging stage. Bacon packaging is designed to keep it fresh, make it last longer, and let shoppers see what they're buying. The most common method is vacuum sealing, which removes oxygen to slow bacteria growth and keep the flavor intact. This airtight seal also prevents spoilage and stops the fat from going bad over time, since vacuum-sealed bacon stays fresh longer. It's the go-to choice for both producers and customers. Some high-end bacon brands use modified atmosphere packaging, MAP, which doesn't just remove oxygen, but replaces it with carbon dioxide and nitrogen. This slows down bacteria growth and keeps the bacon fresh for a longer time. It's especially useful for brands that skip artificial preservatives, since it helps maintain quality without extra chemicals. Some bacon also comes in resealable packaging, making it easier to store leftovers without needing extra bags or containers. Every bacon package must have a USDA-approved label that gives important details about the product. It shows how the bacon was cured, smoked, and what ingredients were used. Some brands highlight no nitrates or nitrites added to appeal to people looking for a more natural option. Once packaged, the bacon is stored in cold warehouses below 40 degrees Fahrenheit until it's ready to be shipped. From there, it goes to grocery stores, restaurants, and finally into customers' kitchens. Bacon. Sugar has been part of our lives for centuries. On breakfast tables, in soda cans, baked into cakes, and sprinkled into just about everything. Today, the world goes through more than 180 million tons of sugar every year, making it one of the most used ingredients on the planet. Most of it comes from just two plants, sugarcane and sugar beets. These crops grow in massive fields across places like Brazil, India, China, and the US. Once harvested, machines crush them to squeeze out a thick juice. That juice is boiled, cleaned, and spun until it forms golden crystals, which are then dried into the white sugar we all know. To keep up with demand, it takes hundreds of factories, thousands of workers, and giant machines running all day long. Some factories crush up to 12,000 tons of cane in a single day, turning plants into sugar faster than you'd believe. It's one of the busiest food industries in the world, And as you're about to see, there's a lot more behind that bag of sugar than meets the eye. Sugar starts with the raw materials, sugarcane and sugar beet. These two plants are the main sources of sucrose, the sugar that is turned into the crystals we use every day. Sugarcane grows best in warm, sunny areas with lots of water, making places like Brazil, India, and Thailand perfect for it. Once the plants reach about 10 to 15 feet tall, they're ready to be harvested. Farmers can cut the cane by hand using machetes or use machines, which is quicker and cheaper. Sugar beets grow better in cooler climates and are mostly found in places like parts of Europe, the US, and Russia. They are usually harvested in the late fall using large machines that pull the roots from the ground. Once collected, the beets are cleaned well to remove dirt and debris, since any impurities can affect the final sugar. Beets are a good choice in areas where sugarcane doesn't grow and provide a reliable alternative for making sugar. Sugarcane and sugar beets are used to make sugar because they hold a lot of natural sugar inside them. This sugar can be taken out, cleaned, and turned into crystals. Both plants are good at storing energy as sugar, which makes them great for large-scale use. Sugarcane grows better in warm areas and gives more sugar per acre, while sugar beets are important in cooler places. To get the most sugar, it's important to harvest these crops at the right time and move them quickly to the factories. After sugarcane and sugar beets are picked, they need to be taken to the mills quickly to keep their sugar levels high and stop them from going bad. Sugarcane, in particular, goes bad fast, so any delays can mean less sugar is collected. The cane is usually moved by trucks or trains to mills that are close by. Once it gets there, it's unloaded and sent straight to be crushed so the juice can be taken out. Since sugarcane is tough and full of fibers, it's important to process it fast to keep the sugar fresh and get the most out of it. After sugar beets are harvested, they're taken to factories where the sugar is removed. They're usually moved in big trucks, and since beets are tougher than sugarcane, they can handle a bit more travel time. Still, it's important to move them quickly, usually within 48 hours, so they don't lose their sugar. Once they arrive at the factory, the beets are unloaded, washed, and sliced to get them ready for the next step. Moving sugarcane and sugar beets quickly is super important for making good sugar. If there are delays, the plants can lose some of their sugar, which lowers the amount and quality of the final product. Since both crops take up a lot of space, big trucks and lots of planning are needed to move them smoothly. Good transport helps keep the crops fresh, reduces waste, and makes sure the factories get the best raw materials for sugar making. The next step is getting the sugar out of the plant. For sugarcane, it starts with washing the stalks to get rid of dirt and other stuff. Then, the cane goes through big machines with rollers that crush it and squeeze out the juice. This juice has sugar, water, and a few other things from the plant. To make it cleaner, the juice is filtered to take out bigger bits and fibers. After that, it's moved to tanks, where the heavier stuff settles to the bottom, leaving cleaner juice on top. For sugar beets, the roots are cleaned really well to get rid of dirt and anything that might mess up the sugar. After cleaning, the beets are cut into thin slices or chips to make it easier to pull the sugar out. These slices are then soaked in hot water in a process called diffusion, which helps the sugar come out and mix with the water. The liquid that comes out is then filtered to take out the leftover beet pieces and anything else that's not sugar, leaving a sugary liquid behind. The goal of the extraction step is to get as much sugar as possible out of the plants. The more juice you can pull from the cane or beets, the more sugar you can make. How well this works depends on things like how much water is in the plant, how hot the process is, and how good the crushing or soaking methods are. This step is really important because it decides how much sugar you'll get from each batch of plants. After the juice is taken out of the plant, it needs to be cleaned to get rid of anything that could affect the sugar. The first cleaning step is called clarification. In this step, the juice is heated to get rid of extra water. Then, lime, a type of calcium powder, is added to balance the acidity. And sometimes other things like phosphoric acid or carbon dioxide are used to help with cleaning. The lime makes the unwanted stuff, like dirt and proteins, stick together into a thick sludge, which is then removed using filters. What's left is a clean liquid called clarified juice. The next cleaning step is called decantation. In this stage, the clarified juice is left to sit in tanks so any leftover impurities can settle to the bottom. The juice is already pretty clean by now, but it might still have a few things in it that need to be taken out. That's why it's often filtered a few more times, using finer filters to make sure it's as pure as possible. This step helps remove anything that could affect the taste, color, or quality of the sugar, and also makes sure the juice is safe to use. Purifying the juice is very important because anything left in it, like tiny bits of dirt or minerals, can change the color or taste of the final sugar, especially white sugar, which needs to be super clean. Even small amounts of unwanted stuff can make the sugar look off or taste weird. That's why the steps like clarification and filtering are done carefully, to make sure only clean sugar goes into the next part where it turns into crystals. After the juice is cleaned, it goes into the evaporation stage, where most of the water is taken out to make a thick syrup. This syrup still has some sugar and other things in it, so it needs to be boiled even more to start turning into crystals. Special vacuum pans are used to boil the syrup at a lower pressure, which helps the water evaporate faster. The vacuum also stops the sugar from burning, which could make the sugar taste bad. As the syrup thickens, small sugar crystals begin to form. To help more crystals grow, tiny sugar crystals are added to the syrup. This helps control how big the crystals get. The longer the syrup boils, the larger the crystals will be. This step is important for making the sugar the right texture and purity. The goal is to make sugar crystals that are as clean and even as possible to ensure a high-quality product. After boiling, the syrup is cooled, and the sugar crystals are separated from the leftover liquid called molasses in a process called centrifugation. A spinning machine uses force to separate the sugar from the molasses. The sugar crystals are still raw at this stage and need more cleaning, but this is the first step in turning the liquid juice into solid sugar. The crystallization process is an important step in making sugar because it decides how big and pure the sugar crystals will be. After boiling, the syrup is moved into crystallizers, where it cools slowly so bigger crystals can form. The process is carefully controlled to make sure the crystals grow evenly and reach the right size. The longer the syrup cools, the bigger the crystals get, and the more efficient the process becomes. Once the crystals are the right size, they are separated from the leftover syrup using centrifugation. This process spins the mixture quickly to push the syrup to the outside of the drum, leaving the sugar crystals behind. The result is raw sugar, which still has some molasses in it and needs more processing to become the white, refined sugar most people use. Crystallization is important because it changes sugar from a liquid to a solid. The size and purity of the crystals affect how good the final sugar will be. Good crystallization makes sure the sugar is clean, free from impurities, and ready for the next step. Without proper crystallization, the sugar wouldn't meet food standards, and less sugar would be produced. After crystallization, the sugar is still wet and needs to be dried to stop it from clumping and to make it easier to handle. This is done by putting the raw sugar crystals in big dryers that use hot air to remove the moisture. The sugar is stirred and turned in the dryer to make sure all the crystals dry evenly. The perfect moisture level for sugar is about 0.1%, and this needs to be carefully watched during drying to keep the sugar free-flowing and prevent it from soaking up moisture from the air. The drying process also makes sure the sugar won't spoil or clump while it's stored. Too much moisture can cause the sugar to stick together and form lumps, making it hard to package and use. Too little moisture can make the sugar break easily and lose some of its texture and sweetness. The goal is to remove just the right amount of moisture to keep the sugar stable without making it taste bad. After the sugar is dried, it's cooled before being packaged. This helps stop the sugar from taking in moisture from the air while it cools. Drying is an important step in getting the sugar ready, making sure it's stable, easy to store, and ready to move on to the next stage, refining. Not all sugars are refined the same way. Raw sugar, which still has molasses, is usually light brown and has a small molasses taste. To make white sugar, the most common type, the raw sugar has to go through extra steps to clean it and make it into crystals. This process is called refining, and it includes washing the raw sugar crystals with water or a special solution to remove the rest of the molasses. After washing, the raw sugar goes through filters made of activated carbon or bone char to clean it even more by removing color and other impurities. These filters help get rid of any leftover molasses, which could change the sugar's color and taste. The sugar is then turned into crystals again, and any remaining impurities are removed. The refining process makes sure the final sugar is as pure as possible, without any molasses or other things that could affect its taste, texture, or look. Sugar is refined because white sugar is preferred in baking, cooking, and food production for its mild taste, smooth texture, and white color. Removing molasses also gets rid of any bitterness or strong flavors that raw sugar may have. The refining process makes the sugar perfect for many uses, from sweetening drinks to being an ingredient in packaged foods. Once the sugar is refined, it's ready to be packaged for sale. Packaging is important to keep the sugar fresh and safe from dirt. The sugar is measured and weighed before being put into packages of different sizes, depending on the market, from small packets for people to big sacks for factories. The packaging is chosen to protect the sugar from moisture, air, and pests, which can lower its quality. For retail packaging, sugar is usually sealed in plastic or paper bags that keep it dry and clean. The packaging also has labels showing the sugar's grade, ingredients, nutrition info, and where it came from. The goal is to make sure the sugar stays safe, easy to store, and easy to transport without losing quality. Packaging not only protects the sugar, but also helps with branding and marketing. The design of the packaging can influence how customers see the product. Whether it's a simple clear bag or a more stylish box, packaging is a way to catch buyers' attention and tell them about the product inside. Sugar is popular because it's flexible and improves the taste of both sweet and savory foods. Whether in coffee, baked goods, or drinks, sugar helps bring out the best flavors. Its easy use, long shelf life, and wide range of uses in cooking, baking, and food production have made it a key product in homes and businesses everywhere. Plus, its ability to mix well with many ingredients has made it a must-have in kitchens. The sugar industry has stayed strong because of the efficient ways it's made and refined. From harvesting sugarcane and sugar beets carefully to the controlled refining and packaging, each step ensures a high-quality product. This consistency has helped sugar stay a top choice for home cooks and big food companies. Also, improvements in packaging have kept sugar fresh and easy to store, making it even more popular. Sugar is popular because it's affordable and easy to find. Since it can be mass-produced and shipped worldwide, sugar is... Blue raspberry sounds like it's from a fairy tale, and it kind of is. There's no real blue raspberry fruit, and nothing in nature is that bright blue color. But this flavor has become super popular. You find it in everything from ice pops and chewy candies to sports drinks and lip gloss. It's a favorite for many people. The flavor started in the 1970s. The problem was simple. There were too many red-flavored candies, and kids couldn't tell them apart. So, food scientists decided to do something fun. They turned raspberry flavor bright blue. It was bold, tangy, and really stood out. People loved it, and it quickly became a big deal in the candy world. Making blue raspberry isn't easy though. Each batch needs about 10,000 gallons of ingredients mixed in huge factories. They use science and careful measurements to get that special taste. It's not just about adding blue color, it's about making sure each candy or drink has the perfect tangy flavor. Let's clear this up. Blue raspberries aren't real. They never were and never will be. You won't see them growing on a bush sitting in the grocery store or being made into fancy jam. Yet somehow, this bright blue flavor has been a childhood favorite, popping up in slushies, gummies, and candies everywhere. It's just one of those things we all went along with, like cartoon characters having 4 fingers, or cereal somehow being part of a balanced breakfast. So where did the blue raspberry come from? Like many things in the snack world, the answer involves marketing, food dye, and zero concern for what raspberries actually look like. Back in the 1950s and 60s, raspberry-flavored candies had a problem. They looked just like cherry, strawberry, and every other red candy. It was a guessing game for kids, and companies needed a fix. Instead of changing the flavor, they just made raspberry blue. Because why not? The ICE company took the idea and used blue number 1 dye to make a bright, eye-catching slushy flavor. And just like that, blue raspberry took off, spreading to hard candies, sour belts, and anything else that could turn your tongue an unnatural shade of blue. At some point, someone tried to explain blue raspberry by pointing to a fruit called Rubus leucodermis, also known as the blue raspberry. Sounds legit, right? Except it's actually a deep purple, nothing like the bright blue we all know. But by then, nobody cared. Blue raspberry had already taken over, showing up in Jolly Ranchers, Sour Patch Kids, and snack aisles everywhere. It may not be real, but it's one of the best food industry tricks ever. After all, a neon blue slushie was never meant to be natural, and honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way. Now, let's take a look inside the factory. Since blue raspberry isn't a real fruit, its flavor has to be completely made from a mix of natural and artificial ingredients that copy the taste of real raspberries. The goal is to create a flavor that's similar, but with a sharper, tangier kick to make it stand out. This is done in flavor labs, where experts carefully mix and test different ingredients to get the perfect balance of tartness, sweetness, and smell. Real raspberries have hundreds of natural flavor compounds, but blue raspberry is made using just a few key ones to create a stronger, more intense taste. The result is a bold, unforgettable flavor that works perfectly in candies, drinks, and frozen treats. Some key ingredients in blue raspberry flavoring include isoamyl acetate, which gives a sweet, banana-like smell, and ethyl butyrate, which adds a juicy, candy-like taste. To make it tangy, citric acid and malic acid are added, both naturally found in fruits like lemons, apples, and real raspberries. These acids don't just add sourness, they also make the flavor feel stronger and more refreshing. Depending on the product, the formula may be tweaked, with artificial sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame used in sugar-free versions. The right mix of these ingredients keeps blue raspberry bold, flavorful, and impossible to resist, whether it's in a lollipop or an energy drink. The bright blue color of blue raspberry comes from Brilliant Blue, FCF, blue number 1, a synthetic dye used in food worldwide. Unlike natural dyes from fruits or vegetables, blue number 1 stays vibrant even when exposed to light, heat, or acidic ingredients. This is important since blue raspberry products go through different temperatures during storage and shipping. Without this dye, the flavor would still be there, but the eye-catching blue color would be lost, making it way less exciting. Over time, this bold blue shade has become just as important as the taste. People expect blue raspberry to look as intense as it tastes, proving that sometimes a flavor's success is just as much about appearance as it is about flavor. After gathering the ingredients, the next step is making the blue raspberry flavor concentrate, which is used in slushies, sodas, syrups, and candies. This happens in food labs, where chemists carefully measure and mix flavor compounds in exact amounts. Since blue raspberry has a unique but familiar taste, keeping it consistent is important. Every batch needs to taste the same. Even a small change in acidity or sweetness can throw off the flavor, so manufacturers use advanced tools to check for accuracy. Techniques like gas chromatography and mass spectrometry help break down and analyze the chemical makeup of each batch, ensuring it matches the exact flavor people expect. Getting the right balance of acidity and sweetness in blue raspberry is tricky. Too much citric acid makes it too sour, while too little makes it taste dull. To keep it just right, manufacturers use pH testing to check acidity levels. Trained taste testers also sample batches to catch any small changes in flavor. These experts can tell if a batch has the right fruity smell, tartness, and sweetness before it goes into full production. Some companies even bring in regular consumers to taste test small samples and give feedback, making sure the final product matches what people love. Getting the right shade of blue is just as important as the flavor. People often associate color with taste, so if the blue looks off, they might think something is wrong, even if it isn't. To keep it consistent, manufacturers use special tools to measure the exact shade and make sure every batch looks the same. If the color isn't bright enough, they adjust the pH level or dye concentration. This attention to detail ensures that whether you're sipping a soda, enjoying a slushie, or eating a candy, it always has that same bold blue color and tangy taste you expect. Once the blue raspberry flavor is perfected, it's time for mass production, where it gets added to candies, drinks, and syrups. The process is different for each product, requiring special machines, careful timing, and strict temperature control to get the right texture and taste. Even small changes in temperature or mixing speed can affect the final result, so factories use computer systems to keep everything consistent. Quality control teams regularly test samples to make sure every batch has the right flavor, color, and texture before it moves on. For candies and gummies, production starts by heating sugar, corn syrup, and water in large kettles until it turns into a thick, clear syrup at over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 150 degrees Celsius. Once it reaches the right consistency, blue raspberry flavor and dye are mixed in to ensure an even taste and color. The hot syrup is then either poured into molds for gummies or slightly cooled before being stretched, shaped, and cut for hard candies. Sour candies get an extra coating of citric or malic acid for more tanginess. Other treats, like taffy or lollipops, go through extra steps, such as aerating for a softer texture or cooling slowly to prevent unwanted crystallization. For sodas and slushies, production starts by mixing blue raspberry syrup with either carbonated or regular water. Homogenizers make sure the syrup blends evenly, so it doesn't separate over time. In sodas, carbonation levels are carefully adjusted to keep the right amount of fizz. Slushies go through freezing machines with rotating blades that break the liquid into tiny ice crystals, giving them their signature semi-frozen texture. The consistency has to be just right. Too much ice makes it too thick, while too little makes it melt too fast. For syrups and liquid concentrates, blue raspberry flavoring is mixed with high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweeteners to create a thick, long-lasting mixture. To keep it fresh, the syrup is heated to kill bacteria and mold, then quickly cooled and stored in bulk containers. It's then shipped to fast food chains, convenience stores, and drink makers. Before being served, the syrup is mixed with water, ice, or soda to create the final blue raspberry drink. Many brands keep their exact recipes secret, adjusting the sweetness and tartness to keep fans coming back for more. Before blue raspberry products are packaged and sent to stores, they go through strict quality checks to ensure they taste right and are safe to eat. Even small changes in acidity, sweetness, or color can affect the final product, so factories use chemical tests, taste tests, and microbial inspections to keep everything consistent. Advanced lab equipment helps detect even tiny differences in the formula, preventing products from being too sour, too sweet, or just off. If something isn't right, adjustments are made before the batch moves forward. One of the biggest challenges in making blue raspberry products is keeping the color consistent. The artificial blue dye, Blue Number 1, can change slightly depending on pH levels, temperature, and ingredient interactions, so manufacturers run color tests to make sure every batch looks the same. If the shade is even a little off, they adjust it before moving forward because customers expect that bright, electric blue every time. pH meters and sugar tests also help balance tartness and sweetness, preventing flavors from being too sour, bland, or overly sweet. Some companies even do blind taste tests with experts or regular consumers to make sure the final product looks and tastes just right. Keeping blue raspberry products safe from bacteria and mold is a key part of quality control. Since these treats often contain sugar or syrup, they can spoil if not handled properly. To prevent this, factories use pasteurization, sterile filling, and airtight packaging. Random samples from each batch are tested for harmful bacteria like Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli to make sure they're completely safe to eat. Even the packaging is checked to ensure it's sealed correctly and won't cause leaks or spoilage. If anything fails these tests, the entire batch is either fixed or thrown out, making sure every blue raspberry treat is both tasty and safe. After passing quality checks, blue raspberry products move to packaging, where they're sealed, labeled, and prepped for shipping. The packaging depends on the product. Candies go in plastic or foil, drinks are bottled or canned, and syrups are stored in large containers for restaurants and soda machines. Packaging keeps the product fresh, tasty, and looking good. The process is mostly automated, with robotic arms, conveyor belts, and fast wrapping machines handling thousands of units per hour to keep up with demand. Airtight packaging is key to keeping blue raspberry products fresh and safe. Moisture-proof wrappers stop gummies and hard candies from getting sticky or melting, while temperature control keeps them from getting too soft or hard. Drinks need sterile bottling to keep their fizz and flavor. Slushy syrups and soda concentrates are sealed in large pouches or jugs and sent to fast food spots, gas stations, and amusement parks, where they're mixed with ice and water. Some companies also use vacuum-sealed containers to keep products fresher for longer. Labels on blue raspberry products follow strict rules, especially since they contain artificial dyes and sweeteners. They list all ingredients, nutrition facts, and allergens so customers know what they're getting. Expiration dates, batch numbers, and manufacturing details help with tracking in case of recalls. Some brands even add QR codes for extra info on sourcing, sustainability, or special deals. Once packaged and labeled, the products head to distribution centers before being shipped to stores, movie theaters, amusement parks, and online retailers, ready for blue raspberry fans to enjoy in candy, drinks, or icy slushies. Blue raspberry's popularity isn't just about its bold, sweet tart taste. It's a mix of nostalgia, smart marketing, and eye-catching color. Unlike common fruit flavors, it stands out with its bright blue look and unmistakable flavor. It was made to be different, and that's why it stayed popular for so long. From slushies and sour candies to sodas and ice pops, it has earned a permanent spot in the snack world, loved by both kids and adults. Its unusual color adds to the fun. After all, how often do you see blue food? That curiosity and excitement keep people coming back. Blue raspberry stays popular because it's fun and different. It's tied to childhood memories, amusement parks, movie nights, and summer treats. The bright blue color makes it feel special, something you won't find in nature but just as exciting as real fruit. Choosing blue raspberry over a regular flavor feels playful, even a little daring. While other artificial flavors have faded, blue raspberry keeps coming back in new forms. Whether it's a special edition soda, a neon energy drink, or a new sour candy, companies always find new ways to keep it in the spotlight. Blue raspberry proves that a flavor doesn't have to be natural to be popular. It stands out because it's bold, memorable, and a little unusual. Its bright color and tangy taste make it instantly recognizable, helping it stay a favorite for decades. More than just a flavor, it's connected to fun, nostalgia, and a bit of mystery. Even as food trends change, blue raspberry keeps showing up in new ways, from slushies and sour candies to vape flavors. Whether you love it or just wonder why it's still around, one thing is clear: blue raspberry isn't going anywhere. So what do you think? Are you a fan of blue raspberry? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, out some of these other Process Powerhouse videos.